Hey there, Taylor Ellwood here, and welcome to Magical Experiments. And today I want to kind of continue the Tower Time theme and talk about how to turn Tower Time into opportunity. As I shared last time, Tower Time is kind of that experience of where you have everything coming down around you, or an area of your life at least where things are coming down. So, you get a divorce, you break up with somebody. This would be an example of Tower Time. You lose your job or something else along those lines. That's an example of tower time. So, when you have an experience of tower time, it doesn't have to fit everything in your life. It can be something as simple as, I lost my job, or I quit my job, or it could be, I broke up with someone, or I got divorced from somebody, or it could be something else. It's representative, though, of the fact that something has changed in your life, and that the structures in your life that you had in place are no longer there. The foundation wasn't as solid as you thought it was, or the foundation needed to be changed. We can purposely choose to instigate tower time in our lives. We don't always think of it in that way, but like, for example, if you're the one breaking up with somebody, you're instigating tower time in your life. You're still bringing down the tower, and that's your choice. Or if you're if you're leaving your job, that's your choice to leave your job. It's still a form of tower time, but it is something you're instigating. Now, if it's something that happens to you, where like somebody else breaks up with you, or like the person breaks up with you or divorces you, well, that's them instigating tower time. And I would say really any situation where there is a fundamental change in the status quo, whether it's you making that change or someone else making that change, it's going to be tower time. And it can be a little traumatic. It can be a little traumatic even if you're choosing to do it, even if you're the one choosing to do it, because the fact is you are disrupting your status quo in favor of seeking something else. So it's really important to recognize that. And yet, I would also argue that tower time is opportunity. And specifically, it's the opportunity to transform something about your life that isn't working. When I've had tower time moments, which as I've shared in my previous video, I've had a number of them, I have invariably found that if I approach those tower time moments as opportunities, something good comes out of them. It may not feel like it at the time, and usually it won't. Like when, for example, I closed my business down in 2017, that wasn't a good time for me. But eventually I found my way toward an opportunity, which came in the form of realizing like, hey, I can take my books and self-publish them and make a lot more money that way than continuing to publish them with my traditional publisher. That was an opportunity that came out of that tower time. And like when my dad died, again, tower time moment, not a very easy one at all. But one of the things it did is it forced me to kind of get real about the effect this person had on my life and start to make some changes. Did I want to continue going down the same path that I'd seen him go down? No, I didn't. So tower time is an invitation to change and transform your life. Yes, the tower is crashing. Yes, everything that you have built that is contained in this tower is coming down. Yes, the illusions that you thought were real are being stripped away. And yes, this is an opportunity. We welcome that opportunity by seeing it as a way, as recognizing that it is an unmanifestation of what is no longer working. Because with tower time, what we're given the opportunity to do is to take charge of our lives. If something isn't working, instead of continuing to stay in that dynamic and try to make it work, you can let it go. And some people might say, well, like, do you want to always do that? Like, there are times to stick it out and make it work. And I agree, there are. There are times where it can be worth it to stick it out. I would say never leave a situation just because it's a bit hard. Because there are going to be moments where situations are hard. You're at your job and you're coming up against a really hard project. Yeah, you could quit and find something else, or you could stick with it and you might get a better opportunity, a better raise. Or your relationship's a bit rocky, but you have a history of meaningful, rich, intimate experiences, yes, you could give that up, or you could stick with it. There are times to stick with a situation, and there are also times to let go. Tower time is the recognition I need to let go. Tower time is the recognition I need to stop clinging to my attachments, because my attachments are not the reality. And the reality for this is that when we have, the tower coming up, it is saying, hey, here's this opportunity to reinvent my life. Carolyn, you said, thanks for sharing. I've noticed that the tower card has been coming up a lot in my personal tarot reading. It's scaring me because I feel like something or some sort of situation is coming. Well, generally, the tower is telling you something. It's saying, hey, let's take a look at your life. There may be some drastic changes that need to be made. Again, I know that a lot of people don't like the tower card. Like, oh, I don't want to get the tower card. But, the tower card is not something to be afraid of. Yes, some drastic changes may occur. And yes, it could be a bit frightening. If the tower card comes up, this is an opportunity to take a good hard look at your life and say, well, if there is something that needs to be changed, what needs to be changed and why, and how can I take control of it? There is such a thing as controlled demolition with the tower. If you know that you're going to have a tower moment and you can control that demolition, then do it. The thing that we have to remember with divinations and tarot or anything like that is it's not something that's happening to us. We're not helpless. We have choices. So if you have something that's coming up for you, look at it for what it is. It's like the death card coming up. Well, I'm getting the death card a lot lately. That doesn't mean you're going to die. Death is transformation. That's typically what the death card represents. So it's a signifier that, hey, there's some kind of transformation that's going on. It might be a transformation that's already happening deep within you. Carolyn, what I would suggest doing is take a good look at your situation and ask yourself, like, is there something in my life that's going on that needs to change? Is there something where the foundation, where the tower needs to go, and I need to go back to my foundations? I need to go back to square one. And if you find yourself looking and you're like, yeah, I'm really miserable at my job, or I'm really unhappy in my relationship, or I'm really unhappy with X, Y, and Z, that's an invitation right there. It's an invitation to get curious about it and determine, can I fix the problem in the foundation right now? If I can, then great. The tower card could signify that. Could say, hey, here's a problem that's going on and you have an opportunity to change it. Or it could be like, yeah, hey, it's time to level the building and let it go. Let go of the attachments. This isn't working. Instead of continuing to try and make it work, let it go. I've been in situations where I've had tower moments in my life because I realized that something wasn't working and I kept trying to make it work. I kept trying and trying and trying. Let me tell you, it is very exhausting to try and make something work that isn't working. It is very exhausting. It eats up a lot of your mental health, your emotional health, your creativity, and it can really devastate you. And you might be in a situation where you love someone very, very much, or you thought you were really happy at the job, but something's changed. It's time to get real. That's what the tower card is really telling you. Now, I will say, Carolyn, that if you want, I actually do readings myself. And if you're interested, I can shoot you a link to my calendar, and you could schedule a reading with me, and I'd be happy to take a look at that with you, and we could explore what that looks like. But the important thing that you want to remember is that whether you take me up on that or not, is like, if you're getting the tower a lot, this is an opportunity to take a good hard look at your life. Okay, give me one moment here, and I will post that link in here. But this is an opportunity to take a good hard look at your life and do something about it. Now, one thing I want to suggest too, okay, and there we go, and boom. All right, there you go, Carolyn. Feel free to schedule it on my calendar, and we can go from there. So one thing to kind of remember from your life is that, change is inevitable. Nothing stays the same. And for some people, they get really stuck on wanting things to stay the same. They want it to stay the same. They want it to be status quo. That is the comfortable discomfort right there, where we're comfortable we're comfortable with our lives, we're comfortable with what it is that we're experiencing, but we're not really being real with ourselves. There's that discomfort in the background. And the tower, what the tower does is it says, hey, here's this discomfort, and I'm going to maximize it until you have to do something about it, until you have to make a change. And whoa, will you make that change then? That's what the opportunity for the tower time is. It's the opportunity to lean into your discomfort, your pain, your fear, your anxiety. And I know these aren't things that people want to necessarily lean into. I get it. And I still recommend that you do it. Because when we lean into what makes us uncomfortable, we embody it, and then we are able to liberate ourselves from it. But if we have it in the background, it's something that is eating away at the quality of our lives. And it's causing us to settle for less. It's like you've hit a plateau. And like, okay, the plateau is nice, but I want something more. You can either choose to go downhill or uphill. Where are you stay on the plateau? Staying on the plateau just keeps you where you're at. Going downhill, well, you're going downhill. You're not going where you want to go. Uphill, you're taking the chance to go somewhere to keep going. And tower time is like, hey, I'm going to level the plateau. I'm going to level the plateau, and I might push you downhill for a little while, but then you'll come back and you'll go up, and you'll go even further up. And sometimes that's why we have tower time. But if we look at tower time as an opportunity for growth, we can transform our lives in a rich and powerful way where we are in charge of who and what we are and what we manifest. Now, if you're coming into this video and watching it, go ahead and click the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that way you get notified when I'm on here. And, the one thing I'm going to really recommend about taking an opportunity is that the opportunity occurs on multiple levels. It occurs mundanely, but it also occurs magically and spiritually. So when you have a tower time moment, it's causing everything to fall away. And here's something I'll share. Like right now, I'm actually getting ready to instigate a tower time moment in my life. I've actually instigated another tower time moment earlier, like a month or so ago. And it was, it was hard. It was not an easy time. I mean, I would say the first month after that tower time moment happened was really uncomfortable. I disrupted the status quo in a way that was in my life and someone else's life. And yet in the end, it seems like, we're both better off for that disruption. Whereas continuing to stay in the pattern that we were in wasn't working. Now I'm getting ready to disrupt my life a little bit further. I'm going to be leaving my day job at the end of August. This is powerful. It is magical. It is me stripping away what isn't working in order to come out the other side. Is it a little scary? Yeah, it is. Because I'm going to go for a moment, I'm going to go into free fall. But I'm going to take that and turn it and use it to go upward. And that's kind of what we have to be willing to do with our lives. We have to be willing to take the areas where we feel resistance and use them to transform our lives in a rich and powerful and meaningful way. And this is where tower time is the opportunity for us. So if you're in your life and you're kind of like, yeah, I don't really like the direction my life is going, I invite you to welcome in tower time. Tower time is an opportunity. Tower time is your chance for growth. Tower time is going to transform the quality of your life. And yeah, it may be scary in the moment, but it's going to be ultimately more powerful because you are going to come out the other side stronger and braver for the experience of having tower time. You will come out in a better way, and you will find that you can get what you want out of tower time. The tower time can lead you to the opportunities that you were missing out on otherwise. And I want that for you. So, if you find that you're like like Carolyn, you have the tower card coming up a lot, this is the time to explore it. And whether that's getting a reading from someone else like myself, or it's just taking a good hard look at your life, or a combination thereof, this is your chance and your opportunity to transform your life in a rich and powerful way. It'll be a little scary, but you will come out the other side better for it. All right, thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your evening.